right side. Completely it is 4 decimals, out of which right side is 2 decimals. So for example, I'm entering the value of 10.24. Okay, it is going to accept. If I write 10.2 only, it will add 0 for that automatically. For example, I'm writing 10.239. It will make it as round figure to 10.24. It will store only 10.24 as the value. Right? It is going to keep the, with respect to the decimals, after that 2 decimals, up to 2 decimals. You are restricting your data up to 2 decimals. Right? For example, here, I'm writing one value called as 10.2345 6, something I have written like this. Now here 5 decimals are there. Now I want to convert this 5 decimals to 2 decimals only. What I am going to do? Just I am going to right click on this. I am going to click on the format cells. Okay. And here the numbers, whatever the numbers are there, up to 2 decimals only. 2 decimals means it is going to select only 2 decimals. Entire column you want. For example, here mileage. I am keeping the name called as mileage. And this entire column should be of maximum 2 decimals only. So select entire column and click on the format and click on the number with the, keep the 2 decimals. So it is going to keep as 2 decimals. For example, I'm writing only 10. 10.00 automatically printed, right? So I'm writing with 16.24569 something. Automatically converted to 2 decimals. And I'm writing with 12.4. Is that clear? For example, I'm writing 131. Automatically, it is adding that decimal values, 2 decimal values. So that is with respect to called as decimal. Here also in the MySQL also it is do the same thing. So for example, I'm writing with respect to like this decimal 5, 3. 5, 3 means 10.523. Okay, total 5 decimal values, total 5 digits, out of which 3 of them are after the decimal value. So you have entered 10.5 means automatically after the decimal remaining 3 it is going to add, right? Now here I'm writing decimal of 7, 0. 7, 0 means whatever round figure I'm going to make it as round figure. For example, here the same column, whatever the column is there, I'm going to select the format, and here the decimal values I'm going to change to 0. I don't want any decimal, to 0. Now before to this, just check the values 10.23, 10, 16.25, 12.4, something you are having like this. Once I click on the OK, the decimal values will be erased. It is not going to consider the decimal values. Same way here also the same thing. So if you write 7, 0 miss, so it is not going to accept after the decimal whatever the values you have entered, it will not store that values. Is that clear? That is with respect to decimal. Whenever you are having the float values, you have to use the data type called as decimal. Okay. So once again, char, varchar, next enum, int, decimal. These are the 5 data types which I have covered as of now. Next data type is called as date. Data type name is called as date. Inside that column, only dates will be accepted. You are keeping the heading as, for example, you are creating a table. In the table, you are going to create this one, date. Name it as date. And you are giving the data type also date. Now here you are inserting 1. It will throw the error. If you are adding the value of 1, it will throw the error because the data type is not matching. You have to send the date only. That too, the date as per the US format only. First year, followed by month, and followed by the date as per the US format. Why? Because US they have created this MySQL. If Indians has created means we used to create as per the Indian. They have created now, so we have to use as per them. Right? That is the syntax. So to year followed by month followed by the date. Okay, that to mm. If it is May also, you have to write 05. Don't write simply 5. We have to write 05. So the date format is YYYYMMDD. Right? Done, guys? So here the date format. Just you are going to select the date. Automatically it will accept. So we are going to create all these tables. Don't worry. I will show you how to create the table and how to assign the data type for that. And after that, if you give a wrong data type, what type of error it will show, everything we are going to discuss. Practically, we are going to do everything, right? In that practicality, you'll understand. For example, I'm going to create here serial number with tiny int. I have given the tiny int. If I insert the first value as 1000, it will throw the error. Maximum value is 256 only. It will throw the error. That you will see in the while executing in the MySQL, inside the MySQL, right? Now, next one is after the date. Next data type is called as date time. Date time. So where it is going to save the everything, year, month, date, along with that time also, hours, minutes, and seconds. This is the syntax. For example, you are having 25th July 2018, 9:30 a.m. This how you have to save in the MySQL. How you have to load means it has to be loaded in this way: 2018-07-25 9:30 and with seconds. Then only it will accept. Otherwise, it will throw the error. Right? So here date time. Next data type is called as date time, where it is going to consist of both date and time also, where the time is 24-hour format, not 12-hour format. AM, PM words will not be there. For example, as of now, the time, whatever the time is 8:47, you have to take 20:47. Okay, 20:47. You have to go with a 24 hours format, not with respect to 12 hours format, and don't keep AM and PM words. Next data type we are having is called as timestamp. Last data type is called as timestamp. Now, what is meant by timestamp? Timestamp means it is going to point the exact point of time. Use it for well-defined exact point of time. What is the difference between date time versus this one means? Date time will store the date along with the time, but whereas this one will store only the time in terms of seconds. For example, you are having like this. So timestamp. So here there is with respect to 1st January 1970 to 19th January 2038, and this is the time. So for this time, how much time it has taken, overall seconds, whatever the total number of seconds it was passed, that it is going to calculate, right? For example, everyone, you are having the date of birth with you, right? Some date of birth. What are the date of birth? For example, January 1st, 2000. Assume, example, right? At morning 5 o'clock. Okay, you have born at morning 5 o'clock, right? From 2000 January 1st to today date. What is the today date? 8 February 2023. Time is almost 8:49 p.m. right? Which is nothing but 20:49. So from that to this, how much seconds was done? It is going to store that one in that. Okay, in that particular variable, in that particular data type, it is going to store in the terms of seconds. So here, whatever the starting time, ending time. So see here, 2018 July 25th, 2018 July 25th. Starting time is 9, ending time is 10:30. Means 1.5 hour is the gap. So 1.5 hour means 1.5 hour is equal to 90 minutes. 90 into 60, which is equal to 5,400 seconds. So it is going to store the 5,400 seconds value. In that column, it is going to store the seconds value. How many seconds was completed? Right? Is that clear? So in this way, we are having with respect to char, varchar, integer, decimal, date, date time, and timestamp. So these are the different data types which we are going to use. And each of them we are going to execute practically one by one. Okay. Apart from this, we are having some other data types also that we'll see in the further. Right? During the practicality. Now, we are having with respect to in the SQL, different types of languages are there. Okay. The SQL consists of different types of languages, out of which the first language is called as data definition language. The second one is called as data manipulation language. Third one is called as data control language. And fourth one is called as transaction control language. So these are the 4 different languages earlier. Now, the fifth one also there, called as data query language. The fifth one is called as data query language, DQL. Earlier we are having only 4 languages. Recently the fifth one was added 2 years back, 2 years or 1 year back only. Right? Just data query language. The new one is data query language. Data query language, DQL. So what is these languages? Data definition language means here you are going to define. Define means you are going to create. Okay, creation work will be here. Manipulation means any mistakes are there. You want to manipulate means you want to add, you want to delete, you want to replace. All these things will be done in the manipulation. Control. Control means where you are going to control the database. Means you are going to give the permissions or you are going to cancel the permissions. And the last one is TCL, transaction control language, means which is nothing but save. How to save that one. Whatever you have executed, how to save. Right? So let us see one by one. First, data definition language, DDL. In the DDL, we are having with respect to called as create. In the entire SQL, the SQL language I have already told you, it is called as query language. Structured query language is the full form. Query language means you are going to write the query. Queries, how you are going to write a query means any query you are going to use by SQL commands. By using the SQL commands, you are going to write the queries. There are multiple SQL commands are there. Just by writing the commands, we are making the queries. So what are the different commands we are having means first one is called as create. Create is the first command. Second one is called as alter. If you want to do any alterations. Next one is called as drop, rename, truncate. So these 5 commands comes under DDL. These 5 commands comes under DDL language. Right? Create, alter, drop, rename, truncate. These 5 commands comes under DDL language. Next, data manipulation language. Insert, update and delete. These 3 commands comes under DML. Earlier we are having select command also. Now but select command exclusively is called as data query language. Exclusively only select command is called as data query language. One and only command, select. Okay. So what is this all of them? I'll show you one by one. Just write and sample one of the code we'll execute today. Right? Insert, update, delete. Insert, update, delete. These 3 commands comes under DML. Next one is DCL, data control, where we are having only 2 commands called as grant and revoke. One is called as grant, one is called as revoke. This both of them comes under DCL. The last TCL. TCL, commit and rollback. Commit means save, rollback means undo. Right? Commit and rollback. These are the 2 commands which are in the TCL. And the last one is called as data query language, DQL. Data query language, DQL. Data query language consists of only command is called as select. This is the most important one out of all of them for the data scientists. This is the most important one. Right? Let us understand all these commands one by one. First, let us start with the DDL, that is data creation, whatever the data defining language. I will show you just only one command today. Okay, remaining we are going to continue from tomorrow. Understanding each and every command one by one. If you understand every command means SQL is completed. Right? Now, first one is DDL, data definition language. So here, inside this, how I am going to write the query? Query means create. Create is the command name. Create database. I'm going to create the database. Right? I'm going to create the database. Write the database name as per your choice. I'm going to write the database name called as MyDB. Every statement, once the code is completed, you have to end with the semicolon. That is the syntax in the SQL. Every query has to be ended with the semicolon. The query can be in 1 line, the query can be 10 lines, the query can be 20 lines also. But once the entire query is completed, you have to end with the semicolon. Okay. Now what happens here? Once I execute this one, how to execute means by clicking on this one. This is the one. So by clicking on this, only the particular line, whatever the cursor line is there, that particular line only will be executed. So I'm going just executing this one. See here, created the database called as MyDB. One database was created. Inside this MyDB, I'm going to create the tables. For the tables, I'm going to create the multiple columns. For each column, I'm going to specify the data type. This is the database I have created. Just this is called as query language. Create database MyDB. Means it is going to create one database inside your system. It is going to create one database. The database name is called as MyDB. So how you are going to see? Now you have installed the MySQL, right? In your system, you have installed the MySQL. Whatever the MySQL you have installed is for your easiness understanding. I'm saying whatever you have installed in your system MySQL, data, that space, that is nothing but this one. Like this. This is the one which you have installed. This is MySQL database. This is the overall one. Within this overall one, you are going to create multiple databases. Multiple databases means multiple Excel files. So Excel sheet number 1. This is the database. MyDB is the database I created. Next, I want one more database, one more Excel. I'm going to create one more Excel. That is, this is one more different database. Database name is called as SRK. This is one database. This is another database. In each database, within that, you are going to have the tables. For each table, you are going to have the columns, values, everything. Right? So similarly, how you have created the database, this is one database, this is second database. If you want to create one more database, just you can write create one more database. If you write small letters also, caps lock also, no problem, as per your choice. Sir, some people will ask, sir, can I use this one? Right? So create one first letter only caps lock and second letter with respect to small letters. For example, last letter caps lock key. Can I use like this? Okay, you can use. As per your choice, you can use one letter caps lock, one letter small letters, anything as per your choice you can use. There is no problem in the MySQL. Generally, we'll not use like that. Generally, we'll use with respect to whatever the commands are there. All the commands we'll use in the caps lock. Other than commands, whatever is there, everything we are going to use the small letters. So that we'll understand that is the command and this is the value. So I'm going to create the database, one more database called as SRK, and I'm going to execute. So it is created one more database. Now within this database, I'm going to load the tables and I'm going to make the connections between the tables. Now, for example, let us take like this. In the real life, in the companies, as a data scientist, if you are working, now how you are going to have? One, they are going to give the permission, entire permission for your database. For that particular database, they are going to give the permission, or for that particular table. Second option is you are going to get some file like this, SQL file. Directly you are going to get the SQL file like this. See here, this is the IMDb data file, SQL file, IMDb. Everyone knows IMDb, right? Movies rating, right? So this is the IMDb data set. For that entire data set of IMDb is inside this particular thing. So it is going to consist of almost 4 lakh records are there inside that. Okay, with multiple movies and almost 7 tables are there. They are connected to each other and multiple columns and everything. This is the real-time original IMDb data set. Okay, so you may get some SQL files directly like this. Some SQL files. Now this, if you are getting this type of SQL files, this SQL file you have to load in your database and you can start the work. What is our work is? By writing the query, extract the data. So we mostly work on the select command. Most of our time is on the select command, right? So how to load this file into the database, how to load that I'm going to show you. how to create the database, how to create the tables within that columns, and how to assign the data types, and how to rename once the table was created. For example, I have created the table name like this, serial number. Okay, now serial number, instead of writing like this, I want to write serial number like this. I want to rename the column. How to rename the column, and how to add a new column. If already column is there, that column I want to delete. How to delete any particular column. All these things we are going to discuss one by one. From tomorrow onwards, we are going to start the queries. By writing the queries, we are going to do the database manipulations. Right? Is that clear, guys? So in today's class, we have discussed how to install the MySQL. Everyone, please install the MySQL. Just download directly from the drive and start the installation process step by step. Just keep the PDF, whatever I have uploaded, keep that one side and do the installation process. Right? Data types. Remember the data types. We are going to use the data types and we are going to create the tables. Yes, you can choose as per your choice. Sir, please provide the, can you share once drive link? Chetan, the drive link is already in your classroom. You are already a classroom member, miss. Inside that, the drive will be available. If you are not the classroom member, miss, please contact the admin. Right? Others, you can leave. If you are not having any questions, you can leave. హార్డ్ డిస్క్ లో సీలో ఎక్కడైతే ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తారో అక్కడ సేవ్ అవుతుంది. లేదు డన్ అంతే. అదా పాండాస్ అర్థమైతే ఇది ఇంకా ఈజీ అయింది. సారీ స్టూడెంట్స్, క్యాబిన్లో చాలా ఉన్నాయి, నాకు ఎవరు షేర్ చేయరు. వాళ్ళ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ నాకు షేర్ చేయరు కదా, నాకు అవసరం లేదు కదా, నేను అడగను కూడా, వాళ్ళు నాకు షేర్ చేయరు. డైరెక్ట్ గా క్యాబిన్లో నుంచి మనకి ఏది కావాలో డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకుంటాం. Yes. Just ask the admin. He will adjust according to that. Ask the admin. Say to the same problem to the admin, so he will rectify that.